This is the Rubber Boots Podcast, Season 8 of the podcast, brought to you by BetSafe.net.
BetSafe.net.
Thank you for joining us, we'll sure you have no regret. Even we can't believe we're not canceled yet. We're gonna tell some stories, we're gonna have a good time, you know for sure, we're gonna have a laugh. This is the podcast. This is the podcast. 100% free.
100%. That's it.
This is the podcast. This is the podcast.
BetSafe.net.
This is the pod.
That's it.
This is the podcast. This is the pod. What? This is the podcast. This is the pod.
BetSafe.net.
Hi everyone, just back from just fresh off the plane from the Turks and Caicos, and back to see my buddies Lester and Stoff and Puffy here on the Rubber Boots podcast, brought to you by our friends at BetSafe.net. I want to say right off the top, it was another revealing week for the popularity of the Rubber Boots podcast, brought to you by BetSafe.net on Turks and Caicos. You're basically in another corner of the planet. Only a 3.5 hour flight from Toronto. First of all, I arrive and I check into my my suite at the luxurious Waimara. There's a box on the table, a box of champagne. It comes in a fancy box, and that's a whole other side story. I realized later you could slide the box up to remove the champagne, but instead I broke it in half and then realized it was a souvenir box. There was a note that came accompanied with the champagne that said, "We promise there will be no squirrels in your roof here at the Waimara."
Very nice.
That came from Sean O'Neill, who was my real estate agent, one of the top real estate agents in the Turks and Caicos. He sells all the Waimara places. If you're looking for a luxury condo or villa, you got to go to my buddy Sean O'Neill. He's Irish. He's got a nice Irish accent. He's a rugby player. He's a fine gentleman, and so he listens to the pod all the time. And was concerned about my squirrels, so had a bottle of champagne waiting for me when I arrived at Waimara. Next day on the beach with my lovely Brooksy, who accompanied me on this trip, walking down the beach past some guy, and I got like my ball cap on backwards like Puffy today, my sunglasses on, looking like a bum, and all I hear is, "Rubber Boots!" and I like turn around, I'm like, "Hey!" And then the next thing he says is, "Hello, hello,
nice.
hello."
That's
So,
a fan.
clearly
That
missing
makes me
Lester.
happy. That makes
International hit.
The pièce de résistance. We were at the airport yesterday in Providenciale, flying back to Turks and Caicos. And apparently Jimmy, his boarding pass or something fell out of his knapsack at security or something.
Shocking.
Stuff that Jimmy would do. And so Brooksy is in the liquor store buying rum.
Shocking.
And Jimmy's just somewhere elsewhere in the airport. And all of a sudden, my name gets paged. Jim's Duthie to the security. And I don't know why I sounded French there. But so I head off to security. But Brooksy was right in the front of the line at buying her booze. And the couple behind her said, "Oh, James Duthie's here in the airport." And Brooksy, proud wife that she is, says, "Oh, that's my husband." And the people go, "You're Brooksy?"
Nice.
That's awesome.
So a shout out to Stephanie Hackett, who has been a long-time listener. I think Steph9, I think is, you might recognize that. She writes us,
On
Steph9.
Instagram, yep.
Yeah, she writes us on Instagram a lot. And Steph has actually written me from way back when, back in the days, even when I was writing columns for tsn.ca, always wrote me nice notes. And she lives out in BC with her husband. And they came all the way to Turks and Caicos because of the way we spoke about it on the podcast. So once again, proving that we are the greatest ambassadors for the Turks and Caicos on the entire planet.
Yes.
So there you go. I missed you guys, having you guys down there this week, but
We missed it too.
the Rubber Podcast Nation was with us throughout our little trip down there.
Prophylactic Nation, you mean?
Prophylactic Nation was there. What else? All sorts of podcast characters were down there. Mike O'Flaherty, my good friend. Mike's the one, remember, who mixed up Dave Chappelle with
Yes.
Dave Coulier.
Honest mistake.
He was down. Dave is building. Dave. Mike is building a new villa, and it is. We went out on a little boat ride to look at it. So we're gonna have to really suck up to Mike a lot to maybe
Get the
get
invite.
his villa for a future trip, because I think it's
Yes, that'd be nice.
it looks like 8,000 square feet or something
Whoa.
like that. So Mikey's got a villa.
nice.
Stephen Ames,
Oh.
also a guest on. You guys all met Stephen when we were down the last time.
Nice guy, man. Nice guy. I really enjoyed that night.
Stephen and his lovely wife Kelly came by and hung out with us and drank all our booze. And so we went out for dinner. We had a big raucous night at the Waimara fish fry. Shout out to we have this Australian chef now, Chef Andrew. So Amesy came by, and Kelly and Kelly's friend Emily, who was visiting from Vancouver.
Oh, nice.
Which brings me to the next story. We're sitting at dinner on the beach at Waimara, having our fish, and Emily says, "I know you."
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, "Oh," and she goes, "Pretty sure we hung out at the Roxy." And I'm like, "Emily, Ixnay on the Oxy Ray with Brooksy Ray here."
You're like, Roxy, I do not know this place.
I'm not aware of that. Brooksy, like, what establishment is that? No. Emily thinks maybe Puffy during like the 11 Cup final or something. We might have met her at the Roxy or something. Oh yeah, we were all there. Everybody was at the Roxy. Remember when? Remember Bill Daly, the deputy commissioner of the NHL, was at the Roxy, just pounding him back. Boy, Billy Daly. So then we played golf with Ames the next day.
Nice.
And so here's what happens. First hole, Jimmy par, Ames par.
Whoa.
Boom. Second hole,
You should have quit there.
scrambly bogey for Jimmy.
Yeah.
From the far fairway. Miss birdie putt for Ames, par. So third hole, par 5 against the wind. Jimmy birdie, Ames par.
Whoa.
Suddenly, after 3, Jimmy par, Amesy par. It is on World Match Play Championship. Ames shot 65. I shot 81. He beat me by 16 strokes.
But was there any part of you that was starting to get excited that you might be able to beat him heads up?
I thought for a moment. No, here's what I was thinking in my head. I was never thinking win, but I was thinking if Ames, has an off day and shoots 74. And Jimmy was on fire and shoots 76, then for the rest of my life, I'm like, I was within 2 strokes of Stephen Ames. And then he beat me by 16 strokes.
Is that the best round of golf you've played with?
Well, no, I was actually really good. I was like
No, not you. I'm
No,
talking about
his.
Ames.
the best golfer I've ever played with. Yeah, for sure.
You've never played with someone who and watched them shoot that low, right?
No, I mean, I played ODOG the day before our horrendous match incident against Jerry D and Kyle Dubas. Mm-hmm. I believe ODOG might have shot 69 or something in our practice round, and I shot 75, like one of the best rounds I've had, and then we both pooped the bed the next day.
That one also came apart on the back 9.
Yes.
I think you got an area you got to work on, Jimmy.
Yes. Ollie Schneider gens, I played in a scramble with him. And if he was playing his own ball, he probably would have shot about that. But the ridiculous ease of which Ames shot 65 is what was horrifying to me.
Yeah.
He was never, ever, and this is not, and also I should say he played off the backs, we played off the blues.
Okay. So we're
Mostly just 10 yards difference, most of the holes.
Yeah.
He was giving me a hard time, which actually made me feel good because I was hitting it pretty far. Like I was by him on a couple, even though he's off the back tee. So he's like, "You're hitting off the wrong tee box," which made me feel good. He thinks I should be at the back.
Nice.
And then we were playing a 6-6-6 match against 2 other buddies, and I was with Ames in the last 6 holes, and I hit it on in the water on 17, then topped my drive on 18, and I embarrassed myself with him, and we lost our match.
That's awesome.
I beat him once, though. I did beat him once.
That's
so
good.
I'm just going to remember it as I beat Stephen Ames. End of story.
That's how we're all.
Man, how's everybody? Did you guys miss me? Did anything big happen while I was gone that we need to talk about? Any big changes in any of your lives?
Well, I had COVID.
Yes.
There was that,
I
yeah.
had the COVID, so
Puffy
I've
missed
gone through it.
missed Trade Center. Did you watch all of Trade Center from start to finish?
I probably saw maybe 15 minutes of it.
Why weren't you watching faithfully?
'Cause I was sick. I was basically sleeping most of the day.
Okay, so Lester, you have not had COVID, right?
I have not had COVID.
Stoff, you have not had COVID.
I think I had it right at the beginning.
Okay.
If you guys remember, I was sick for like 2 weeks, but back then doctors said you didn't go to China, you don't have COVID. So
Yeah.
Right. I don't believe I've had
biggest
COVID.
test, yeah.
So Puffy, take us through the highs and lows of your COVID experience.
Well, it's weird because, like, I mean, I don't know. Since COVID started, I've probably taken about 40 tests, and everyone's been negative. So when I started feeling not great on the Saturday, and then so that Saturday night, we were at our cottage with another family, and then the Saturday night, I got back and I was not feeling good. So I took
When
a
you
test.
say you weren't feeling good, what were your symptoms, if I may ask?
I had mostly it was like I was starting to get like a bit of body ache and chills in my throat. My throat was the worst one. I started getting a sore throat, and then so I took a test, and then it was like positive, and so then I was like I basically had to barricade myself in the guest bedroom, and then this Sunday, the main symptoms I had was really bad sore throat, and I was tired,
like exhausted, tired, like you can't
just
move
like
off the couch.
just like I could sleep 10 hours, wake up for an hour, and then nap for 2 hours, like just like that.
Wow.
But not
like shaking in your bed. Oh, I'm dying, like that.
No, there was never a point that I felt like at all.
But you're vaxxed, right?
Yeah, like I'm double, whatever the boosted.
You're double plus what? You're triple.
Well, no, because I remember I'm on my 1 year anniversary of my Johnson & Johnson.
You got the J&J.
Oh, so you are not. You only had 2 doses of vaccine.
Yeah, I got the Johnson & Johnson, and then I got the booster.
So which makes supposed to count
That
for
is
3,
three,
but
yeah.
that we all realized the Johnson & Johnson was a joke, though. It really wasn't.
Didn't they take that off the market after because it causes COVID?
Yeah, but I think about 4 days after I got it.
I remember
this
you were
is
at the Masters when you got it, and you were taunting me with how you had the
We were quite confident and cocky in our newly vaxxed bodies.
And yet 1 year later, who is pure and clean?
That's
the 3
true.
of us and you.
Absolutely.
But I have to admit now, like having had it, it's nice to have it sort of behind you, because now I feel like I got a little bit of a window here.
So you feel like you have super immunity.
Yeah.
Do we feel like does the COVID the people who've had COVID, the COVID community, do they feel superior to the non-COVIDers like us?
Yeah, I think it's been a switch where at first it was sort of like you didn't want to have it. Now we're more the superior people.
I don't get that sense at
I
all.
wouldn't say so. There's also a lot of people who have like the lasting symptoms. I wouldn't say
haulers.
they feel superior. That's
Well, I
probably
mean,
a
those
lot
people
worse.
for sure. There's been some people with some issues, but us who just rode through it quite easily, we feel good.
Oh my god.
I think getting it after you got vaccinated, because it's such a lower toll, that's probably a good thing. Like, you didn't have to
definitely.
suffer
Yes.
through the
Yeah.
whole thing, so.
Although it does make, I was curious. Like, I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't been vaccinated.
Well, it's good that you don't have to find out.
I guess.
Exactly.
But it'd be nice to be able to know. Like, just
Like you're never going to be able to
So when the next disease comes out, don't get the shot.
Yeah, that's
no, but
guess
I don't want to risk. I don't want to take the risk, but I want to be able to have the knowledge.
Once again, you always try to throw a hypothetical in here. If I didn't get vaxxed, would I still be
Like, how
as
much
strong?
How much? Would I have been able to ride it out, or would I have been in trouble?
As having seen your conditioning, I don't think you would have had a hard time, young man. You'd still be struggling.
I thought you were going the opposite there, brother.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say you wouldn't have made it.
You would never have made it. Right now, we planning your funeral, son.
Well, that's what I was implying, but then I decided that would be too negatory a tune. We're glad you're okay. I missed you on trade deadline. The lovely Megan filled in for you and did a wonderful job.
She
But Puffy's always comes to me during the commercial breaks and
Pump your tires.
gives me a little piece of information about a trade, and then he usually very sarcastically says, "You're really killing it today." That's what he does every commercial break. Show is awesome.
Yeah.
Trade deadline, boy, it feels forever ago now. What happened in trade deadline? It was okay, it wasn't the disaster that I thought. There was enough trades that kept it going. We had a little Coach Cal in there. I gotta say, okay, 7-year-old kid. If you miss trade deadline, Coach Cal is like the motivational speaker. He's been on Ellen. And we probably played it too much. That's what TSN does. We get something good that happens, and then we play it 58 times till everybody's sick of it. But I can't tell you how sweet this kid was. You only saw him on TV, yelling, doing his thing at the camera.
Yeah.
That was awesome, though.
He was... I don't know if you caught the second time, I guess, he came in and did a motivational thing for Jeff O'Neill.
I didn't see that one. Was it good?
And then when he finished, so he's like, "Come on, O-Dog! You played in the NHL. You were a star once. You could be a star again." That kind of thing. But when he finishes, we're like, "Coach Cal, okay, thanks so much for being here. You got to get back to grade 2," and he becomes the 7-year-old again. He's like, "Thank you guys so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it." It was just like the kid was so sweet, and he came up and he took a picture with us, and he was a normal 7-year-old again. But then there was no teleprompter or anything, right? This kid. Kid wrote this speech and then just goes out and delivers it live on TV.
He wrote it?
So he wrote that himself?
Well, I think that maybe Jeff Mott, our producer, gave him some ideas. Hey, Jeff's a 40-goal scorer in the NHL. And
he kind of pieced it together from that.
Yeah, wrote out some of the lines,
Nice.
I think, for him probably. And he put it together, or maybe with the help of his mom and dad. I don't know what goes on in Coach Cal's world. He's got an entourage. But he, memorizes it, I guess, and then just goes out and does it without any hesitation. Which I think of myself when I was 7. Imagine the intimidation to go into a TV studio with all these lights and all these adults with suits and telling you what to do, and then boom, you nail it. Hey, Lester?
Oh, that's crazy. It's crazy.
Could you have performed in front of a crowd at 7, Lester?
No, not like that. No, I don't think so. I mean, look, if I had the right coaching and I was doing it for a while, I'm curious to find out from his parents how long they've been working with him on this. Has this been a 2-year process? Because, like anything, you get confident. It's like riding a bike. Once the kid starts riding the bike, the training wheels comes off. They know what to do. That's it, right? So doesn't know anything different.
The key part you said there is confidence, because I think with most kids, they're so shy at first, even when you introduce them to someone new or whatnot, that's usually the case. And so he probably just did this in front of people once and just gained the confidence from there. And I'm sure his parents supported him, but it was awesome. My only concern for Cal is if he keeps this routine up, he's going to need Tommy John by the time he's 10. The way he's firing that arm, oh, brother.
Yeah.
Well,
he does have. I will say this. Look, he has an agent, so as he should, and milk this for as much as it can. It's like the "I didn't do it" kid on Simpsons with Bart, right? It's basically that, and it's going to run out. And they were all, and I'll call out 2 people made sort of derogatory comments about Coach Cal, and they were Ken Campbell and Steve Simmons.
Oh wow!
And here's what I have to say to them. You can criticize TSN for, like I said, running it too much. Maybe we replayed it 6 times or whatever, so maybe you were tired of it. But to take a shot at a 7-year-old kid and say, "I'm sick of Coach Cal" or whatever, I mean, come on.
That's ridiculous.
Seriously.
That's ridiculous.
I know both of their jobs, and, I respect a lot of what Steve does. Both of their jobs is to be controversial and such, but come on, a 7-year-old kid.
So what's the purpose? That Cal sees that online? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah,
Exactly.
Okay.
I can understand if you're like I said, you're sick of it, or his 15 minutes is up, or whatever. You want to say that's fine. But remember, the kid's a 7-year-old kid, and hopefully he's not on Twitter looking at what those guys are saying.
If I could say one more thing about trade, sir, and look, I'm not obviously we all work for the company, but having been involved with the show myself, I watched a lot of it this year, and I honestly, top to bottom, I thought it was an outstanding broadcast. I just think. all of the elements that we had. Whether I'm involved with the Treaty Bunch too, and thank you again for getting me involved with that, Jimmy. That was a lot of fun. But I thought just a lot of different segments worked really well. I love Gino and MJ going at it. I thought that segment was awesome, and the whole lacrosse thing was great. And I must say, I thought Cheryl Pounder was awesome, and that moment with her and oh my God, why am I thinking
Angela James?
I thought that was outstanding.
Cheryl's a star. Cheryl's a star.
Mm-hmm.
No, thank you, Lester. And you wrote us a nice note. There's a million things that go into that show, and I don't think people have any idea the amount of work that people put in, like the producers and Ben Ziegelstein, the director, and such. But like I said, all things considered, for what it is, we know it's ridiculous to do 9-hour TV show about a bunch of mostly minor trades, although there were some decent ones on that day, but it was fun, and we had fun doing it, and I agree with you. I think it went pretty well, all things considered, for what it was. There's some shows, and Puffy's in the studio, where when the show ends, Puffy and I look at each other and go, Alan!
People worked hard.
But no, we're good. So what else has happened? Well, like this, there are some weeks we come on here and there's nothing to talk about, and like the world's been... like 3 big things in the last 72 hours. We're taping on Tuesday. You probably won't see this till Thursday, Friday. It'll be old news. Will Smith punches or slaps whatever Chris Rock. I don't want to do too much on that because everybody's done it and there's 8 million memes and everything. I will say we were on our little chat because I was down in Turks watching it live. My first reaction was that it was set up, right? Did you guys just for the first... Never thought that?
I thought right from the start that it was real. The way Will Smith reacted, even though my camera, North America, we were muted, what he was saying, you could see from his face how he was legitimately upset. And you could, it was easy to read his lips.
But that was after the slap, though.
After by that time I sort of figured it out. Just the moment of the slap.
I guess I sort of was on my phone and I just had it on the background, and then I kind of was like, what happened? And then the first thing I saw was Will Smith's reaction, yelling at him. And then I rewound it and I watched a slap, and then Tanya was like, that was fake, and I was like, no, there's no chance. He hit him way too hard.
The thing that made it odd was that initially Will was laughing at the joke.
Yeah,
right.
So that was his...
And then we never saw his angry face. Stoff,
until he went to sit back down.
Till him walking on stage. That's what made me think.
Well, and that's why Chris Rock, I think his initial reaction was, here he comes.
Yeah.
Then boom. Yeah. That was awful.
Anyway, it was
it was a sad emotional reaction. I'm glad that he came out yesterday with a formal apology and actually apologized to Chris, who he, when he went up there and did his acceptance speech and sort of tried to, explain his side of things while he was weeping uncontrollably. It wasn't a great look. He didn't mention Chris at all. It just kind of looked like he was trying to make an excuse. So I'm glad he owned it. At the end of the day, it's just an example of how, you can't react that way. You got to be in control of your emotions. And I think the irony of it is that in the end, and this is a guy I've been a fan of who I respected, that one moment that of, just not being able to control himself, it actually cost him the moment that he was working up towards into his entire life, which is winning that award.
Insane.
And it's just, it's very unfortunate from all sides, but, just can't act that way.
Here's all I would say. Will Smith will probably recover from it, but he'll always be known for it, for whatever. He'll still get movies and everything. If I were Chris Rock, because Chris Rock, by all accounts, has said nothing and left the Oscars, apparently. Will Smith went to all the parties and was dancing and everything.
Yeah.
Chris Rock left. If I was Chris Rock, do not do any interviews. Do not do Oprah or nothing. Just lay low, write a kick-ass stand-up routine, and go on tour without you having said anything about it.
Well, his ticket sales went through the roof for his tour coming up.
So he is going on tour anyway.
Yeah, he's going on tour, yeah.
Don't say a word before the tour, and just let your stuff do it, and it would be spectacular.
Never mind the tour. Just get in the ring. Get in the ring with one of the Logan Pauls or something, because, dude, this guy's like Jose Bautista the way he can take a punch.
Well, look,
he stood there like it was nothing.
It was impressive.
I don't think enough has been said about how Chris Rock handled it. I thought he was
What a pro.
unbelievably professional
Yes.
in that moment. And look, I was coming back from Buffalo. Elton Ron was in Buffalo on Sunday night, and I got a text from my girl about this, and I deliberately didn't watch it till I got home. I can't tell you how upset I am about this. And look, I understand that people have moments and whatnot, but that is just unacceptable what he did. It's inexcusable. And I think not only by his own hand did he ruin what should have been the greatest moment of his professional life, he ruined a great night for a lot of people of color in particular. And that's why it saddens me as much as it does. I still don't, honestly, I've seen it on the memes. I still don't have a sense of humor about it. I'm sure I will eventually, but for now, I'm just, I'm very sad. I'm very sad and very upset about it.
What was the award? The Rock was about to hand out Best Documentary or something like that. Like who? It's somebody's moment of their life.
Yeah,
because he couldn't control himself. And honestly, I'll say this as well. I think that he was laughing, and I think because his wife wasn't, he felt he had to do something. That's what I think.
There's also weird stuff going on in that relationship.
Exactly.
Right?
That whole relationship's been weird. There's been a lot of that stuff. The only thing I'll say with him laughing, that could also be him kind of the fake celebrity thing, where when they say the joke up there, they laugh automatically because they know a camera could be on them, so they don't want to seem like they don't get it or whatnot. So I really think he might have been doing that, and then he looked over at her. Now, I get that, this is something she's dealing with, the hair loss or whatnot. Chris Rock doesn't know that, so he's, I don't think he's guilty of anything there. I understand that could upset Will and stuff like that, but there's a better way to handle that. You can pull Chris aside afterwards and say, hey, listen, my wife has this condition. There's just so many better ways to handle it, and what he did wasn't brave. It wasn't tough at all. You went up there and smacked the guy who's way smaller than you. Let's say this. Let's put a different Rock up there. Take Chris down, and you put
the Rock
Johnson up there.
Yeah. Does that happen?
I don't think he's marching up there like that.
Wanda Sykes?
Well, if he might, but he'll get beaten down.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of this, so if I made a bad joke about O-Dog on trade deadline and he smacked me, how would I be able to handle it? Because you are, as a host or presenter, your first thing you're thinking about is the show. But if somebody came up and just smacked me across the face, that's so to have the poise in that moment that the Rock had is impressive, because I'm not sure what I do. I think I'd probably try to throw a commercial or something.
I probably would have left the stage, yeah.
Speaking of which, did you see the video, somebody was filming from a cell phone or whatever during the commercial break?
Yeah.
When you can see Will, Denzel comes up to Will and apparently says that kind of cool thing about the devil gets you when you're at your moment of greatest glory or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then Bradley Cooper talks to him for like a minute.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Apparently it was Bradley Cooper. I couldn't tell from behind, but I heard later it was Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
He must have not said anything because Denzel talked to him for 10 seconds and Will comes up on stage and talks about it. Bradley Cooper lectured him for a minute and Will was wiping away the tears, but he must have not had anything inspirational to say because Will didn't mention him up there.
I think Will mentioned the devil thing because it suited what he was trying to do at that moment. I don't think Will even fully understood what that meant. I think he was trying to put... Because his whole acceptance speech was about how his family are victims of abuse.
Right,
right.
So. It's a lot. He's trying to compare himself to Richard Williams and all they've been through. And it's a lot for people to take when you've had the life that they have had. And yes, it's not easy being a Hollywood star. We know all that. But
I tried.
It's a little bit... Whenever, and this is not the first time that someone in Hollywood has tried to compare themselves to the oppressed in some way, and it's just never a good idea.
No,
right? It's just,
not at all.
Wasn't
it Kim Kardashian that basically said don't work your ass off or something like that 2 weeks ago, and she got lambasted? Again, and look, I understand.
No, she said get off your ass and work, and that's what people got angry about.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, should I?
Anyway. People are probably sick of this thing. What else? So that's followed the next day by Canada qualifying for the World Cup.
Same day.
All of us
that's
big.
Oh, that was earlier in the day. Sorry, earlier in the day.
That was before the Oscars. I got confused. So I was watching that from my room in Turks and Caicos on the Caribbean feed, which was interesting to watch a neutral feed of it, because all they did was basically praise. I don't know if the guy was Jamaican or what. It was some like Flow Sports, which is the Caribbean network. I don't know who the guy doing the commentary, but he was very complimentary to Canada the entire time. So I actually enjoyed it. Yeah. And what a moment, though. We're going to Qatar. I can't, but never thought I'd see it in my
You're going to Qatar.
Little lifetime. Okay, well, yeah. Well, maybe the pod. Look, at TSN has the World Cup. I think we're going to be all in. So
we
live podcasts every day from Qatar.
Not every day, James. What are we gonna like? We
no,
one podcast. We go there for 3 weeks. One podcast.
No, one podcast a week. Right. Non-game day.
Yes, it's great news. It's great news for the country. It's great news for the network. We talked about it a few weeks ago on the pod, and at that point we already felt like it was going to happen. And for them to go down to Costa Rica and not qualify there, but be able to bring it home and do it in Toronto, beautiful.
Yeah. So as this will be, once this airs, like the pots will be out. I'm just nonstop research on soccer this week because I'm hosting the draft show on Friday. And so it looks like they might end up in pot 4, Puffy, which doesn't make any sense to me. They should be in pot 3, but because of that loss to Costa Rica, they might end up in pot 4.
It depends on your rankings, I believe.
It depends on some some games that are happening today in the African portion of things with Egypt. They belong in pot 3, right? That's where they belong.
At least, I think they're a strong pot 3 team. To be honest with you,
it is true that no one's going to want to play them. I shouldn't say that. Like Brazil is not going to go, ooh, Canada, but you don't want Canada as the pot 4. And sorry, we're probably talking for people that don't know soccer. 32 teams in the World Cup, 4 pots of 8 teams based on rankings, and 1 from each pot goes into the 8 groups. So you'd want Canada to be in pot 3, so they would ostensibly be the third best team in the group and have 1 weak game, and then they'd have to pull off 1 upset to get out. Did I explain that fairly? When you're in pot 4, you could have potentially 3 stronger teams and have to, right? Is that
whatever.
Did I explain that well?
If Canada's pot 4, they'll be the group of death.
Yes, exactly.
That was literally what I was about to say. If you have a strong team in pot 4, that's very likely to become the group of death.
Yeah, that'll be unless
the 3 teams weak, then But
they'll be the strongest team in pot 4.
I think
you pretty much guarantee that. So anyway, we'll find that out on Friday. Friday, we'll find out exactly. There's 3 teams, by the way, you won't know about on Friday. They only have 29 actual countries in there. 3 still to be determined because there's the playoffs between the 4th place CONCACAF and Oceanic, which I think is New Zealand.
Probably New Zealand. They're playing
Central America versus Africa. The 4th place teams there or whatever, and not 4th, whatever the extra one is. And then Ukraine has to play Scotland.
Yeah.
And
another
the winner plays Wales.
And the winner plays Wales, yeah. And that was because of the war that they gave. So those three spots will be empty. Look, I was a little bit too much technical World Cup talk.
No, it's good, man. It's good.
Podcast. And most pressing news that's happened in the last just few hours is, and I love the way the world is right now, that some geeky guys with plane radar and stuff have tracked Tiger Woods' plane flying and landing at Augusta National Airport. Puffy and I are headed to Augusta on Saturday, as will, of course, Stoff and Lester will be coming too for the first ever live podcast at Augusta that they'll be joining us for. And I can't, but like I'm not going to say like I told you so because I didn't, but the whole time when he was doing those like Jim Nantz interviews, Tiger does have a way of like playing down things.
Yes,
and
100%.
If he is playing, and there's no guarantee, like he might walk Augusta a couple of times this week and figure out he can't do it. Possible. But the whole time he was saying I'm ways away, and then everybody kind of bought it and said there's no way Tiger's playing Augusta. Back in my mind, I'm going, he loves the grand entrance.
Oh,
like
he loves
this.
it.
He loves it.
As soon as I saw him playing with Charlie at the Hero, I'm like, this guy's playing Augusta.
Right.
You could tell his game was he had the time. His game was going to be sharp.
It's all the walking though. It's not the game. It's the walking in the hills and all that 4 days straight.
Nothing can stop this man. He is going to win the green jacket again.
Puffy, can't you just throw him on your back and carry him?
I will. If you see me, I would carry him like this.
What did you say again when you saw him? You got this, Tiger? Is that what you said?
You got this, Tiger. Puffy with his media badge.
Media badge swinging.
You got this, Tiger.
I was talking to the guys in the band about this, and I said, I know a guy who said to Tiger, "You got this, Tiger."
And he looked at me and he winked and he said, "You know it."
No, he stopped and he said, "I didn't think I had, but now, because of you, Puffy, maybe I do."
Thank you.
Anyway,
stranger.
I really want to be playing because it's just going to make the week. Now, it might I feel bad for the rest of the players and stories because it'll overshadow everything, but who cares? It'll be just an unbelievable story. And again, I think I said this when he came back from his injury. If he doesn't make the cut, if he shoots 78, 77, who cares? The fact that he's back playing the Masters a year after what happened.
He is not Jimmy. He is going to do what he does, and he's going to win the thing.
Wow.
It's going to be the greatest thing ever.
Even if he's in it Sunday, it's going to be spectacular.
Oh, so I can't wait.
Yeah.
So excited.
Anyway, sorry, we've spent too much time. We haven't even gotten to all of what Stoff. What are you digging around in your shower for? We haven't mentioned the fact that Stoff's in his shower.
Dude, I just stained my table. This is not good.
Go ahead, Lester. Lester, what do you got? What are you talking about, Lester?
I just wanted to mention one more thing that happened over the weekend, and unfortunately, it is sad news. But as a musician, I got to shout out to Foo Fighters and acknowledge Taylor Hawkins' passing. Taylor Hawkins, for anyone who doesn't know, is the drummer for the Foo Fighters. Also played with Alanis Morissette and Sash Jordan, two very, very prominent Canadian artists here. So certainly strong connections to Canadian music and community artists. And you know what? I don't believe they 100% know the cause of death, but 50 years old is far too young. It is a classic rock and roll death on the road with the band in Bogota, Colombia. And unfortunately, he was found passed away on last Friday. And it's very sad. He is very, very highly regarded. And Dave Grohl, the leader of the Foo Fighters, again, is going through this, losing another bandmate tragically. And I just want to acknowledge that, Taylor Hawkins was a fantastic artist and musician, and he will be missed. And I just wanted to shout out to his family and the Foo Fighters and all his fans around the world. Rest in peace.
Well said as always. As we're doing this podcast too, just hours after Eugene Melnick, the owner of the Ottawa Senators, passed away. Our condolences to his family as well. Obviously, an extremely complicated legacy. I'll say just a couple quick things. One, as unpopular as the man is, and you can't couch the fact that in Ottawa over the past few years, an extremely unpopular owner. The first line of his bio and his obituary beyond his family is that he saved the Senators, right? Mm-hmm. Like they were done without him coming in and saving the team. I'll tell one quick story. In one of the times he said a lot of things that I thought were, he did a radio interview in Toronto a couple of years back and said a bunch of things that were untrue. Basically, about all his popularity online, he said it was due to one 12-year-old kid or something like that who was spreading it, and which wasn't true. The unpopularity online was real, and I kind of called him out on the Senators broadcast for his inaccuracies, and then that was on like a Saturday afternoon, I think, and on a Monday my phone rang, and it was Eugene Melnick, and we talked for, I think, almost 2 hours.
Wow.
And it wasn't a fun conversation for a lot of it because, you know, I care about the Senators being from Ottawa, and a lot of my friends and family cheer for them. I know, Puffy, you say I'm a fan. I'm really not. But I didn't like a lot of the things that he'd done, and so we kind of went at it pretty hard. And I don't think he was used to getting criticism on a regional broadcast where there's, I guess, some unwritten code that you're supposed to be cushy with the team, but we've never taken it that way at TSN. But I will say this, through the end of the conversation, he wasn't some raving, crazy lunatic like people thought he was, a Mr. Burns type character. He was very passionate. Like, I didn't agree with a lot of what he said, but he also made some valid points. And one of the things I remember him saying was that he felt like he could do nothing right. Like, no matter what he said, there was so much negativity towards him that he couldn't say anything or do anything positive without it getting spun negative. And I felt like that was true to an extent. And I actually told him, I said, the number one thing you should do is not do any interviews. Is just disappear and let the team be the team because of the negativity. And he probably didn't like that either. But I think he did that to a greater extent the last couple of years. Anyway, I just thought, like I said, I didn't like a lot of the stuff he did as an owner, but 62 is too young to die, leaving 2 daughters behind, and that's awful. And he did really want to win. I think that's the one thing I think people misunderstand in Ottawa. He did want to win, and he did save the team, and that should be what he's remembered for most. That's it.
Now, one thing, James, so I don't really remember, but like in 07, when they went on that Cup final run.
Yeah, he was a hero.
07, right? What, like, was he was really well thought of, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like,
he was a guy, like, if you flashed him on the screen, which they probably did, like at the Cup final, that games 3 and 4 there, he would have gotten a standing ovation. It didn't turn Puffy until really the outdoor game in 2017 when he did a scrum afterwards,
I remember that one.
and he threatened to move the team for the first time.
Yeah.
And that's what really turned people off. And then the Erik Karlsson situation, you know, Mark Stone, Daniel Alfredson, who's revered in Ottawa, and he had a breakup with him, and he treated a lot of people within the company not well who were let go. Again, not saying he treated everybody unwell. He just did some things. I remember he went after Ian Mendes around that time. That was one of the things I went after him for on air. Like, Ian Mendes is about the most decent, fairest guy in Ottawa,
100%,
and he tried to get him fired, basically. So, but anyway, so complicated guy, and I think in death, like, there's a tendency sometimes to brush over the negative. I don't think you should do that, right? I think you should portray a fair picture of a guy, and like I said, deepest condolences to his family. But a flawed guy who did a lot for hockey in that town. There you go.
Yeah. I think it should be noted as well that one of his last public acts was to make sure the Ukrainian national anthem was played. He was a proud Ukrainian as well.
Bang on.
And I think that is something that this should be noted as well at this time. But again, rest in peace.
And even Ian Mendes, by the way, who tried to fire at some point, when Ian's daughter was going through something, Ian wrote about this on The Athletic, sent a nice note and gifts to his daughter. And, so humans are complicated. Nobody's all bad. Nobody's fantastic. I mean, with the exception of
this guy.
Oh, yeah, Puffy. But
all bad.
All right.
Evil.
Let's get to things that I saw on Twitter.
Freaky pigs, strange chicks, world affairs, polar bears, fake news, nice shoes, big boobs, jack dudes. All of these things and more as I sat on the shitter. Things that I saw on Twitter.
Alrighty, things that we saw on Twitter. We got a tweet from Barstool Sports, and it's basically a March Madness bracket, but it's a March Madness bracket of the worst places to have to take a poop.
This was very well done.
So I just figured if we could all pick one we feel would beat any other one. I was leaning towards plain, but they also have your significant other's family house there, which if it's your first visit, and I've had that happen to a buddy of mine who went to meet his girlfriend's parents for the first time, and they had a bath. They were over for dinner. It was a small place. They had a bathroom right beside the living room.
Hold on right now. Are you sure this isn't me? And I've told this story on the podcast?
No. It's my buddy Rob, so no.
Okay.
I think I remember this too from Jimmy.
Oh, this happened to you, Jimmy? So anyway, my buddy goes, he uses the washroom, and he said distinctively that they didn't even have, like some people won't have the fan to turn on. So there wasn't even a fan, and his thing was basically they heard everything.
That's the worst.
Because I know his experience, I would say that's probably the absolute worst.
So I think we've had this discussion before. I have a little bit of hang-ups with the bathroom, and I don't like, even in a stranger, like you pull over at a road stop and there's six stations and there's strangers. I don't like it, so I always flush as I am to drown out the noise.
Mm-hmm. And to get rid of the evidence.
Right, yeah. Flush early, drown out the noise, and less smell. At Brooksy's, very first time at Brooksy's was either Thanksgiving or Easter. I don't know which one. Same sort of deal. Not quite right next to the kitchen, but a small bungalow. They're all having dinner, and it's the extended family and everybody. It wasn't the sound or the smell. I plugged the toilet.
No!
And I had to walk out of the room. So obviously I'm in there for a few minutes because I'm trying to figure out, basically trying to plunge by hand. And I didn't plunge my hand. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I didn't do that.
Oh my God.
I didn't do that. But
Foot.
desperate
With your
times.
foot.
So I walk out, and they're like all turned towards me, like 12 people at the table, and they're like, "Everything okay?" And I like, "Yeah, you guys got a plunger?" And that was one of the most humiliating moments of my life.
James, welcome to the family.
I'm sure, Brooksy's dad was like, cut
I'm
this
pretty sure I
guy
must have
loose.
told this on the pod at some point.
I think you have, yeah.
You did. I just remember. I
don't remember it, but
of course, maybe I'm thinking maybe about Along Came Polly, because the same thing happens to Ben Stiller's character. He goes on a date and eats all that spicy food. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right. It is the worst. Like I think with a girlfriend, like a new girlfriend, a date,
A new hookup
a
would be-
family.
A date, yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to. It's
Well, now they
yeah.
have the beach as an option here.
Oh, so
I had some
I
issues
presume that
there.
you dig a hole.
I hope
Or
so.
you go out to the
Or you go
sea.
to in the ocean.
well, I would say like a boat. If you're on a boat trip or something, same sort of deal, right?
Yeah, any
Yeah.
porta potty or moving.
Yeah, any
Like,
bad.
plain bathrooms are terrible.
I do remember once in camp, we went on a camping trip in grade 12, an outdoor like 3-day Algonquin Park trip, hardcore, and there was no latrines, and I guess most people just held it in, but I can't do that. Jimmy's very regular, and so I just remember it came upon me, the feeling, and I ran. I just kept running through the woods until I came across like a kind of a little cliff and a log on a cliff, and I just sort of kind of went off a cliff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
exciting.
when I was in Italy with my school, we were driving through and we stopped at one of those bus stop, like whatever, I guess service stations or whatever. And I had to use the washroom, like I had to go number 2. So I run up there. There's a bit of a line, and it's my turn next. And as the stall opens, the guy comes out, and there's no toilet. There's literally 2 places where you put your feet and a hole.
Europe is.
Buddy, I held it. I'm like, I'm not doing this.
forget
I'm gonna
that.
on my shoes. Like, this is awful. Yeah.
Europe, Asia, they don't have the hang-ups we do with these things. They just all do it in mass.
It blew my mind too. I was like, "Holy crap! Like, they expect me to do this?" Like, and there was no toilets in the whole washroom.
This was a good conversation, but after last week, I know there were a few people. Dave Parker, our fine cameraman, sent us a note that he did not enjoy my vivid descriptions of my doctor's exam. So we're going to put a ban on any butt talk for a few weeks here on the pod. Okay, 2 weeks in a row,
Fair.
ban on butt talk.
Well, we will have some when we do listener mail because there was quite a bit of feedback.
Oh,
But
all right, okay.
Just to close the loop on that, the looper.
Or are you the
of
hooper?
Those places they posted, of those places, just because it frequently happens, to have to go to the bathroom in a gas station washroom, that's the worst for me.
They are disgusting. What about in the middle of an Elton Ron show with still 7 songs left in the set?
Ooh, you got to hold it, or you got to pick a song where you're not soloing or something.
Yeah.
I get of the people in the band. I'll say this: I can get away with most, because sometimes on just playing percussion, they're not going to miss me if I have to go take care of business.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got there? What else you got there, Stoff?
let's get to one little thing we mentioned last
Rubber
week.
Boots
as Jimmy-
reacts. No?
Rubber Boots reacts.
Rubber Boots
We can
reacts.
Jimmy brought up syndication, but we weren't really sure how much money and how that whole thing worked.
Okay.
So I did a little research, and I have some amounts that people have made off syndication in the past years from big shows. So I'll just run through them and stop me if you want to discuss any of them if you find it odd. But on the lower end of the spectrum, we have Ted Danson. Cheers. Makes about $5 million a year for the syndication there.
Still.
Is that like still?
This was a pretty recent article from about 2 years
Yeah.
ago. So I'm going to say yes.
Cheers is one of those shows that, like, I don't remember the last time I was able to watch
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Like, I don't know
Where is it on?
where
It's been on forever. It doesn't really matter, I think, who watches it. It's as long as it's being syndicated and played over.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, I would love to watch Cheers, but
Well,
like
I'll
I don't
tell
even
you
know where to
that,
find it.
Our competitors over at CHCH, they run it. They ran it pretty regularly at one point. I watched it during the pandemic at some point for sure.
Oh,
So,
they
yeah.
had it on there. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
most of these
show.
shows are on some sort of daytime TV, like
Yeah.
Yes.
running as reruns. Betty White, Golden Girls, $8 million a year, so a bit more. Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, Dr. Phil, and Ed O'Neill, Married with Children, all make about 10 mil a year off of syndication.
That's unbelievable.
So Ed O'Neill's got the Married with Children money.
That's just 10
and
million
he's
out
going to
there.
have the Modern Family money.
Which will probably be a bigger amount. Like, although there's
Absolutely.
more
It
people
will
to
be.
split with, so I guess
Double
it depends.
dipping on the syndication. That's amazing.
It's pretty impressive.
We got Frasier, 13 million a year, and also since I know Lester's a big Frasier fan, there's talks of a 2022 reboot. Not sure.
I don't think they should do it based on what I've heard.
I think
But
most
continue.
shows shouldn't do it, but
Yeah.
the financial urge, I'm sure, is there.
So what was the highest ticket? What was the highest ticket on there?
Well, so far we got 13 million with Frasier. The guy who played his brother, Niles Crane, in the series makes 2.5 million. So there is differences between casts. Now we're going to take it up a bit. Ray Romano, 18 mil a year for Everybody Loves Raymond.
Did anyone watch that show?
No. A few
I
episodes.
didn't.
I don't know anyone who watched that show.
No, I've seen it. It's
But,
a good show. It's well written.
It was like always like number one the ratings and stuff, but I just didn't know anyone who watched it.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't watch it that much either.
You guys missed out.
I've seen more reruns than when it was on live.
Oh, yeah. I guess. I don't know
yeah.
if I've seen it live,
Yeah.
but I've definitely seen enough in reruns.
Which speaks to our
The
conversation,
Friends
yes.
cast makes 20 million per year each. So that's, 120 mil right there. And that's 2% of the show's annual income. So the show is worth quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
Now we get to Jerry Seinfeld. $110 million a year from syndication.
Unbelievable.
Seinfeld.
I told you it was
Obviously,
crazy.
That is nuts.
And Larry David, I think, makes around the same amount off
He's
Seinfeld.
right up there, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
those
he
are
is.
necessarily their cuts as actors, but more so as the fact that they created
Right.
the series. And
100%.
here's one that's really crazy when you put it next to that and all the other ones. Bob Saget, prior to his death, of course, only made $2,000 a year in syndication from Full House. And he also said in an interview that that's more than any of the other co-stars on the show made.
So they made a
guess a
mistake.
bad deal, bad agent? I
Yeah,
don't know.
bad deals, or maybe back then. Well, you'd think it was around the same time as Cheers and all that other stuff.
Here's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. Full House, and I read up on this, it wasn't popular right at the beginning. It took a couple years before it became what it was. So what I'm thinking is maybe the network or whatnot went to the actors and had them sign those rights away somehow, and they figured this isn't going to be huge at any point.
Yeah.
Or did
That's it,
Full
huh?
House never really popular in syndication? That could be the other possibility, right?
No, Full House I think is a pretty
No.
popular
Really?
syndicated show.
Yeah, I think it'd be
Yeah.
more popular
Yeah.
in syndication almost than its original run.
Yeah.
Like that
I think
was-
people-
Man,
I think
Dave,
really popular.
poor Dave Chappelle, he's getting ripped off there. Brought it all
Play
together.
that uncle.
Good. I like that.
And the last one I have here is James Duthie from The Good, the Bad, and the Duthie. $1
Yes.
billion per year.
Yeah, that's about accurate.
You work hard, it pays
That's
off.
it. Yeah. My Goon 2 checks that I get for whenever it gets played on Crave or Netflix are pretty large. And by large, I mean I got $700 for that movie.
Total?
Yes. Jay just asked me to be in the movie. I said I don't need any money for it. That was at like the actor rate for like actor for one day. I didn't know at the time though I was going to be in like 40 lines in the movie. I should have renegotiated that sucker. What a joke.
Well, I know you got more, but just one of the most famous cases of not doing a great syndication deal is Bob Denver, Gilligan's Island.
Really?
That show, yeah, I mean, they got reams. I mean, that show ran for years and years and still runs, but none of them at the time signed good deals,
So
right?
they got nothing. Wow.
A lot less than they should have.
Oh,
right?
I forgot one Weimara story. Staying at Weimara, I let you guys know, was so this guy's in the pool next to me, and I'm like, he's got like a Canada hat on, but his face is really familiar, and I'm like, it can't be a hockey player, the season's on. And then some woman jumps into the pool and says, "You're the guy from Vikings." And I never watched Vikings, but his name is Alexander Ludwig. He's got a brother as well. And they were also in, he was in, what was it called again? What's the movie?
He was in Lone Survivor.
Lone Survivor. He was in
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. Yeah, he was one of the whatchamacallits in Hunger Games. And and he's Bad Boys. He said he was in too. I don't know if that was like the Will Smith Bad Boys or something else. He said he was in Bad Boys. He said, but Vikings is a pretty popular show, and Bob McKenzie's favorite show. Bob McKenzie was very excited. I texted Bob and I said, "Hey, I'm here with Alex Ludwig," and Bob was he was starstruck.
He was,
yeah. So
you offer him a Bobby Margarita or anything like that?
No, but we were talking about Vikings, like shows that come out. Because remember, Vikings was on the History Channel. So when he gets cast in Vikings, he's like, "What the hell is this?" Right? Maybe get 1 year out of it. And Vikings became not quite Game of Thrones, but it became rather huge. And now I'm going to watch Vikings. I never watched Vikings. So very nice guy, by the way. Very down to earth Canadian guy working on a show in Atlanta that I've now forgotten the name of. But couldn't have been nicer. Alexander Ludwig.
Should we visit him on set when we're in Atlanta Saturday?
I think we probably should. You
can ask about his syndication deal.
Let's get to listener mail.
Rubber Boots Podcast. Listener mail. Listener mail. Podcast. Thank you for listening.
All right. First, we do have some couple people's opinions on our last episode. Neil Corey writes in, had the audio muted while looking for my earbud and came into this conversation at fist deep. So that was a rude awakening, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Roscoe says, on my way out on my walk, and I got to the point of episode 10 where I had to grab my phone and see the name of this week's episode. Very disappointing. Hashtag missed opportunity. So I'm not 100% sure what he's referring to there.
Well, what was the name of the episode?
The Backyard. It was just The Backyard.
Oh, I thought it was a pretty good name. That's a pretty good name.
Yeah, we may had a couple of jokes about weeks prior, and obviously I thought it was appropriate. So Roscoe, you tell us what the missed opportunity was, and we'll get right on that.
Right.
David Carson says this was gets his vote for his best episode of all time.
See? And you guys were criticizing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
take that, Dave Parker. You take that, Dave Parker, cameraman.
That Cobra.
You said you couldn't handle all our ass talk.
Stefan writes in, quoting, "Oh, you shoved your finger in the doctor. That broke me good. My wife heard. I had to explain the whole thing. Thanks." You're welcome. You ever have to explain something to your wife that's like funny amongst you and your friends, and it's just there's no chance she'll get it?
Oh, every day.
Just look at you like you're crazy. Yeah,
every day.
That's literally what Stefan went through, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. No kidding.
So we feel your pain, buddy. And a lot of people we had several tweets and messages on Insta that wanted a Roddy recap for that episode. So.
Was there anybody like Bright Eye Dougie or something that said they'd never listen again after the ass talk? Because I was concerned we might have lost a few people there.
No one said that. Oddly,
I'm happy to say that I was not part of that episode in any way. So
that is true.
Leave my ass out of it.
What your ass missed out on was some Pop-Tarts, as Jimmy inhaled them in front of us without bringing any.
Did you guys bring your childhood treats yet? Like, did you?
Yeah, we've been crushing them this past hour. You didn't notice?
Oh, we gotta do that next week. Next week on the pod, you guys have to bring your childhood treats.
Next week we're in Augusta.
I will say, Jared was back, and he took the Pop-Tarts back to Guelph for them, and
nice,
which was a good thing for me because I would have taken all of them. So
you OD.
Being a problem by now. David Clarkson writes in, Jake, have you seen this flavor? And it's an Eggos flavored Pop-Tart, which is weird because Eggos, I mean, aren't Pop-Tarts a step above Eggos? Why would you want an Eggo flavored Pop-Tarts?
That's interesting.
I would rather have an Eggo than a Pop-Tart.
I liked Eggos though. So does it have the maple syrup too? Tasty to it? Like so you got to build maple
I would
syrup?
imagine that's what's in there.
So.
Maple syrup.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
I think it sounds delectable. I think
that would be probably pretty good.
Sounds fantastic, as a matter of fact.
Okay, so next episode, I'm sure we'll try it live on the podcast. Cole William writes in, Jimmy, I will glad you back you up any day of the week that Pop-Tarts are best snacks around. I once dressed up as a Pop-Tart for Halloween. I have the box in my house at all times.
Attaboy.
Hashtag GBL. Hashtag Rubber Boot Man. So I believe Cole Williams is the Rubber Boot Man in the GBL.
Amazing.
Nice.
Will Murray writes in, the only thing from my childhood I remember but I can't have now is something called Cape Breton Brew. The company went defunct sometime in the 1990s. It was a kind of pop, delicious. So bring back Cape Breton Brew.
All right.
I looked up frozen Pop-Tarts because we discussed it last week, and a snack website, it was some sort of snack experts, wrote, just like Pop-Tart flavors, especially specifically strawberry and cinnamon sugar, are meant to be toasted, there are some that are beckoned to be frozen. Chocolate and cream-based flavors taste like ice cream when chilled, and they're not as messy. So
Okay.
there you have it. Freeze your Pop-Tarts.
Interesting.
Jake in London tweets in about Karate Kid. He basically sends us a tweet from Ralph Macchio, who played, I guess, the Karate Kid.
Daniel's son.
Yes, and he has a book coming out called Waxing On.
Nice.
Too bad he didn't name it Waxing Off.
Good name.
The
That's
Karate
Puffy's
Kid and
book.
Me.
Puffy's book's called Waxing Off.
And the X is blurred. So I don't think we're going to have Macchio on to promote the book because he probably hates me. Nevertheless,
We'll try.
go get the book if you're a
Try
fan.
it. We'll get him on.
Yeah, Will Murray takes a shot at Elon Musk, worst SNL he's ever seen, so obviously he does not have a lot of confidence in him fighting on behalf of Ukraine. And people were tweeting in about the Ferrari in the TSN parking lot. Lots of people were guessing that it was mine, and that's why you haven't heard about my car problems in a while.
It's very good.
I wish, yeah. Also, we had suggestions from drafts, best sports songs, themes, albums, best curlers, best concerts, and then Baz Watson writes in video game night draft just because I want to see Jimmy try to name 4 video games.
I could do that. I was big. I would go Zaxxon, Galaga. Galaga?
Yeah,
Galaga.
Galaga.
Zaxxon, Donkey Kong, and Frogger.
Classic.
Frogger.
What is
Those were the ones I
Zaxxon,
played.
if I may ask?
Zaxxon was one of the, I don't know, you landed a plane on a spaceshipy plane
It's a
thing.
It's a space game.
Yeah, they had that game at the Blackburn Hamlet donut shop. Me and Mark Ward would kick ass down there, pick up a lot of girls playing the Zaxxon.
Just slayed it, I'm sure.
Just knocking them down one by one at the old
yeah.
BDS, the Blackburn Donut Shop. You guys got to go soon, don't we? Do I have to do the Gold Bar League? Does anybody
I gotta go right now.
Immediate cutoff? Okay, Lester. Goodbye, Lester. We'll see you next week from Augusta National.
next
Lester's
week,
got to go
okay.
to work.
See you, Lester.
Well, as soon as Lester signs off here, I can make fun of him for now being tied with me in last place in the Gold Bar League, right? Or is it more? Should I be made fun of me
I think
because
you're lucky he left.
he left? He skipped a week, and I'm still tied with him.
Yeah, that's probably
all
more
right.
like it.
All right.
Let's get to the Gold Bar League.
I love gold, and so do you. Do 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 do, do do do. Join the Gold Bar League, and you can have some too. Do 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 do, do 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 do. It's the Gold Bar League. Come on and join the Gold Bar League.
BetSafe.net.
All right. I mean, first and foremost, Friendly Giant writes in, where can the full standings be found? I started late, so I'm nowhere near the top. And this used to be a problem for us all last year and part of this year, but no longer, as our great friend of the podcast, Andrew Arsenault, has helped us set up goldbarleague.com.
Come
That is
on.
now where you
We got
Is that a real
website?
thing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hold on. Are
Hold
you
on,
two
I'm
kidding
checking
me?
this out.
Goldbarleague.com.
I literally sent you the link.
Yeah, I never got. I don't get that far in your missive, man. That was like on page 3.
Oh my God, it's really here.
Goldbarleague.com. It should get. We should have like a stripper run onto fields at major sporting events with goldbarleague.com on his ass.
Yeah. A speaker, yeah, for sure. We should
Right.
sponsor them.
Remember that guy? He had something like that written, right? Gold Bar.
Yeah, it's usually like some sort of booking site.
Goldbarleague.com.
Anyway, huge thanks to
amazing.
Andrew because
Oh.
it is amazing. You have our different divisions there. You have everyone's standings. You can see
He's the best.
the gold bars everyone's had each week.
Wow, there's a lot of
Everything's
people.
listed in order, and also you can go to that site now and actually fill out every week's form there, as it will be at the top on a
perfect.
Saturday morning. Goldbarleague.com. You
Thank
go
you,
there,
Andrew.
you have everything.
You're a good man,
Thank you,
Arsenault.
Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
You're a good man.
That's awesome.
And as a recap of this past week, we have the 8 Bar Club, which is only one person win a perfect 8 for 8 gold bars.
Wow.
And that was Jimmy's Squirrels. So they might be out of your attic, but Jimmy's Squirrels are dominating.
Hey, did I get my extra gold bar? I came on the YouTube thing a couple weeks ago.
No,
I was
you
on
did
there.
not come on the YouTube. Nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
I did.
Jimmy.
I actually did and made a comment.
There you go. You're supposed to go in the chat.
Yeah, I made a chat.
Not make a No, you didn't. You were not in the chat. People were making fun of you because you left a comment.
Oh. Oh, so I made a comment and I had to go in the chat?
Yeah, join during the premiere. You join the chat. You say hello.
Oh, I was like, a lot of people, not many people are making comments on here, so there's nobody here, but I guess everybody's in the chat.
No. So what the people in the chat were saying was that you were too good to come onto the actual chat and say hello to them. Hence, no
I came in the wrong place then. I thought I was there. I was expecting, I commented and waiting for somebody to comment back, and nobody commented. So there's a chat. How do you click on the chat?
It's just there.
It's just there. Jimmy, you've been there before.
I couldn't find it. Did you see my comment though, where I said, "Hey, it's Jimmy. I'm only here for my gold bar"?
Yeah. And did you see me reply with the Rubber Boots account saying this is the wrong spot to post this? You've been eliminated.
I was off by then.
It's too bad.
You literally just went on, wrote the comment, lost.
I really wanted that gold bar. I was busy.
It didn't happen, and now you're tied with Lester. Anyway, by the numbers, week 4, we as a collective averaged 3.77 gold bars. So we are on our way up altogether. 4 people, 1 person went 8 for 8, as I said. 4 people went 7 for 8, so also very good.
You said who went 8 for 8? You said that? Did you shout out to that person?
Yeah, Jimmy Squirrels.
Oh, okay.
Jimmy Squirrels.
Oh, yeah, that happened like a minute ago in the conversation.
Yeah. So it's okay.
Literally a minute ago. Jimmy Squirrels.
I'll repeat it again after. A couple little observations here. Hating on the Leafs does not always work. As 77% of the people, the money was on the Panthers.
Wow.
Did not work out so well as the Leafs won on Sunday night. 23% of people got a gold bar through that. However, going with Canada, 93% against Jamaica. Obviously, we all got our gold bar there.
Nice.
And congrats to the Boston Pride for winning the title this weekend. And that means only 22% of our contestants got 3 gold bars, as most of the money was on the 6 and on the whale. So Boston Pride just coming through for 22% of the people.
Yeah, I had the 6 too.
Let's update the standings that you can see at goldbarleague.com. In the talent division, AK leads with 15 gold bars. I'm right behind him with 13, and then Lester and Duthie tied with 11. Lester may have participated in one last week. We don't know. And then in the first up division, Puffy leading the way with a strong 18. Carlo behind them with 12. And Bob Weeks 7. Matthew Cause 6. Cause, for a guy who hosts a gambling show, needs to step it up, but he did miss a couple of weeks, so we'll cut him some slack there. Most importantly, moving on to the prophylactic conference. So we have a tie with 18 at the beginning. Now, you guys know the month of March is over, and the winner of March was supposed to advance automatically to the Platinum League. We have a 2-way tie between Pharma Mag 1 and Will Murray. So I will email those gentlemen this week, and they will have a playoff to see.
Oh, wow.
Who advances to the Platinum League at the end. So check your emails, boys, because it's coming. And then tied for third, we have 3 people: Max Scarafoni, Han Solo, and Andrew Arsenault, one of our definite favorites. 17 gold bars. 6 people tied with 16 gold bars. Another 6 with 15. Goes from there. So much like the March winner will automatically qualify, so will the April winner. So if you haven't participated at all, it's not too late to join. If you can win the month of April, you'll be in. And also, if you can get your totals back up towards the top 8 contestants will make the Platinum League.
Okay, let's get out of here. I got soccer to research. Have a wonderful time.
I got soccer to watch, buddy.
We'll see you from Augusta on the Rubber Boots podcast.
Are they playing today?
In 4 minutes. I will see you boys later.
See you, boys.
Hey, how are ya? I got a question that I really wanna ask ya. Wait, don't hang up. I need to know, so I'm gonna try and push my luck. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, or black or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Do your rubber boots tonight? Do you like the dunk tank at the fair? Do you really like the dunk tank at the fair? Dunk tank.
Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight?